I played the legend of Pennsylvania chess, FIDE master Carl Demelt, in round 2 of the Central PA Championship. It is game in 60 delay 5. This is a no engine recap until the very end of this video. And for the first time, basically for the first time, I played the Philidor. I sort of played it against in my last tournament, but I didn't really play it because he played f4 on move 3. He didn't play d4, he played f4, so it wasn't really a Philidor, but this time it really was. He played e4, I played d6, and I could go for the perk if I play g6 and like bishop g7 or g6 and c6 or something like that. But by the knight c3, I play e5. So this is the Philidor. The Philidor through the perk. No, the Philidor through the perk move order. Yeah, with d6 and knight f6. And I had a feeling that Coral might trade in the center and then trade queens. And you may think, like, why would Black just choose to lose their castling rights? And honestly, this was not a great opening choice against Carl. Carl is a very good positional player, and I am never, ever going to beat him in a symmetrical structure. That's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Like in a symmetrical pawn structure where queens are off the board, like I am just never going to beat him. That's just not going to happen. So in some sense, was kind of a bad opening choice in my opinion. However, at the same time, the reason why Black goes for this is because it is a symmetrical pawn structure, and Black is very solid. Even though their king is stuck in the center, the position is very solid, as we'll see in this game. He goes bishop g5, I go bishop e7, preparing to bring my rook to e8 or to f8, depending on what happens. He castles, I block with my knight, not my bishop. I think this is probably okay. Maybe I can go bishop d7 and then king c8 to get out of the pin. That's probably totally fine to do. But my setup that I decided to choose is go knight b7 and then later on go c6 and d5 and maybe bring my knight out to c5 or b6 in the future. He goes bishop c4 and I go rook f8. Because so far I'm like responding to his initiative. He pins my knight, I unpin. He gives me a check, I block it. He attacks my pawn, I block it. But eventually, like now, knight f3, this is a huge test of the position. Knight f3 attacks this pawn and it's undefended because it's pinned to my king. And if I can do a move like king e8 to unpin, well, knight b5 and I'm that's a fork threat. Like, what am I going to do here? So, in this position, I thought for a few minutes because I wasn't sure if I wanted to go knight g4 to get out to defend the pawn, or go knight e8, which is what I ended up doing. If I go knight g4, he could trade, go knight d5, and then go rook d2, and he's probably going to go h3 next. And then take my pawn at some point. Like, what do I do here? I guess here I could go like do a move like f6, and then if h3, just bring my knight back like this. But now my knight is sidelined. Maybe I can rotate it around, but I don't know if I want to like allow him to get so much tempo and really apply some pressure on my position. I'm not sure if I really want this, but honestly, the position is so solid. This could be okay. I'm not 100% sure that it is okay, but it also at the same time looks pretty solid. For example, maybe I could play c6 here right now, and if knight e3, go king c7, and it actually looks like I'm getting out one way or the other. It's a little bit scary, like bishop e6 and then takes, but my knight guards everything. If b4, like, I don't know, this could be okay. But it's probably not okay for Black at all. So I didn't go knight g4. I did not go knight g4. I went knight e8, which I think is a much more solid approach. And it's, you know, it's a retreating move, which like looks kind of ugly, but actually this knight on f6 can go to d6 and attack the bishop and guard f7, and I can start slowly breaking out of my position. It's kind of crazy that black can play like this, but it's totally fine for black. So he takes. He goes knight check. I have to go back to d8 to guard c7, and then he moves his knight back to e3. He thinks here for like at least 20 minutes. Let me double check my notebook. I believe it was like about 20 minutes that he thought here. Yeah, he thought for 30 minutes. Close to 30 minutes. Why? Why did he think that long on this move? I think, you know, anything like, if he tries to do something really crazy, like sacrifice his knight here and then go check, then I can go, which way do I go? I could go, knight d6 probably, and if takes, then of course I just take, and if f4, looking for e5, now I can unpin, or maybe just go f6. Oh, but then g3. Wait a second. Yeah, if I take here and he goes here, now e5. Oh, but then f4. Oh, but knight d7. I get out of the pin one way or the other. Although in this case, I get hit a little bit. Okay, but it's fine though. Okay, yeah, that's very interesting. So I think it tactically all works out. Is my point. So he can't sacrifice his knight to win the rook in the corner or anything like that. I'm trying to think of what else you could possibly be thinking of doing here. If you do a move like rook he1, just centralizing a rook, which seems pretty normal, I'm going to go knight d6, and after a move like bishop b5, bishop b3, I'm going to go c6, and after the knight drops back to e3 or something like that, now king c7, and I've gotten my king out. I'm going to go b5 and knight c5 or knight b6, and then bring my bishop out, and I'm black is totally fine here. I can probably throw in f6 at some point, or h6 and f6, and black is fine, and this pawn structure is completely symmetrical, and life is good. Life is good. So that's why he goes knight e3 instead, because he didn't see any advantage in keeping his knight on d5. I went knight d6. He dropped his bishop forward, actually. Drops his bishop forward. I just thought this was a little bit weird. Firstly, I solidified my center with f6, and then after knight h4, I went g6. I said knight f4, knight h4, I went g6. So now he's never bringing his knight to f5. Of course, if I just went c6 now, for example, he could maybe consider playing. Well, he could just take the pawn on c6 and then take the knight on d6. And yeah, what did I achieve here? Nothing. I just lost a pawn for nothing. So that's why after knight h4, I did not play c6. I just played g6, and after g3, his intentions are clear. He wants to play f4 and try to open up the center with my king in it. And you know, this X-ray exists. But I go king d7. So now the downside of his bishop being on d5 is that his knight cannot be on that square. And so he pushes rook in the center. So there's now another X-ray against my king. But I play c6. He drops his bishop back, and I play knight c5. And I thought he might go for it and play f4 here. But if he did, one of the things I could do is take this pawn, either with whatever knight works. And if he takes, I go f5. And so now my knight is basically part of this connect 4, and this e-file is blocked by his own pawn, and I'm going to go bishop e6, and this pawn's going to be weak. And I'm most likely going to be able to win this pawn on e5, and I'm going to finish development. And this knight is not really impressing anyone. I mean, he can rotate back to g5 the f3 and g5, but, well, not to g5 yet. But point is, he can centralize his knight pretty easily, but that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. So this would be an interesting way for the game to proceed. I'm sure I have other options too. If he goes f4, but after I played knight c5, he quickly played f3, and at this point I have like a 20 or 30 minute time advantage, and I play b5. And, you know, I'm expanding on the king side. I don't want to play bishop e6 because I know he's going to trade. And then this pawn structure, I mean, look, it's so symmetrical here. There's nothing to play for. And, of course, I didn't really, you know, want to take his bishop because, I mean, maybe you can argue that I'm minusculely better. Emphasis on minuscule. Like, maybe this is what I should have tried for, though. To try to win this game. Like, maybe now, after I play bishop e6, you know, if he goes rook to d2, a5, rook here, and, you know, maybe I can just go, like, maybe I can just go, you know, knight b5. And if knight c4, I could just, like, take and go here, and, you know, maybe I'm a little bit better here. You know, he can't go c3, and if I go a4, or if he goes king b1 and I go a4, you know, I don't think this is super clear for him. If he goes c3 now, admittedly, this might have not been the best approach. Maybe I gotta go after here and king b1. I don't know. There must be a way I can try to play for the advantage. I don't have to take this now on c4. I can just play, you know, a4 here. Play a4 here. The only issue I would foresee is knight b6 is an issue. That is an issue indeed. That is pretty annoying. I'm trying to think here. If I take, you can take, and if I take, attacking the rook, you can take, I can take, but I'm not convinced this is good at all. Maybe I do have to take his knight. Maybe here I can go rook a6, which is gnarly. So then I'm guarding b6, and then I can go a4 next. King b1, a4. I don't know. Not too bad. Not too bad. Maybe I'll go a3 next. So pretty interesting. Yeah, pretty interesting. I will admit. This is pretty interesting. Maybe this is the approach I should have gone for. Just take the bishop, create that imbalance, go a5, a4, and just try to create something. Try to make something happen here. But instead of that, I go b5, and after he plays rook d2, I go bishop e6 because, you know, I wanted to go a4, but then rook here, and then I can go here. And I forgot what, I mean, he could always go a4, or maybe even, maybe I should have gone for this. I'm trying to think what happens. Oh, earlier, by the way, I'm not taking this pawn. He has a really, really cool move. Knight f5, an empty pawn sacrifice. Like, this knight took nothing. It took nothing. But the combination of this knight and this bishop, you know, my king can't go forward at all, and it's really uncomfortable. And he just gets a very nice position when my king's still stuck. And maybe it's okay for me, but oh man, this does not look happy at all. So that's why I did not take that pawn over there. Anyways. So yeah, maybe looking at it now, there's probably ways I didn't have to play. Like, I don't know why I didn't play a5 here. Like, a5, I don't know what I was thinking. I really don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, rook a1, rook here. I mean, he might have some tactics. Like knight f5. Takes. And after takes. But here I can probably just take. I go knight e5, attacking the rook. And if rook h7, I don't know, I give up. Maybe this isn't good for me. I'm glad I didn't do it. Yeah, there's this knight sacrifice. So I get 2 pieces. Wait, what just happened here? Oh, wait, yeah. After here, I have to take like this. So it's like equal material somehow. So I have the 2 knights for a rook. And, but yeah, I'm really not sure what I should be doing here. Especially, like, I don't think this is a good version of the 2 knights for the rook, because my bishop and rook are still pretty passive and he's gonna take this with check, and my king still hasn't found any safety. So I don't think this was the right idea. So after rook d2, I played bishop b6. We just traded. He played rook a d1 and offered a draw, and I accepted. So this game was pretty, I don't want to say a big old nothing burger, but it was just a very solid game. You know, like he applied some initial pressure. You know, like I had to respond accurately with knight e8, but then after we traded, you know, I centralized my pieces, I slowly moved some pawns forward, and the pawn structure was completely symmetrical. And you know, I mean, when the both side people's pawns looks like this, I mean, what can you do? What can you do? So I'm gonna end it there. I'm gonna hit the game review, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.